Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel, guys. So, Kaizer Chiefs had like a media day today. I believe it was today, where they allowed all the media to come and chat to Molefi Ntseki. And some good and interesting news came out of that chat, which we will get to. And also, Samir Nurkovic spoke to Robert Marawa. So some interesting things came out of that chat. I'll try put that link in the description below. Or yeah, you can just go on Marawa Sports and you'll find the Marawa TV thing and you'll find the interview there. But let's kick it off. Let's actually start with Marawa. So Nurkovic mentioned his time at Chiefs. He said he's grateful to have played for such a beautiful team like Chiefs. Chiefs was the best move he made like in his career. It's like it was life changing. He loves South Africa. He even was, you could tell Guti, he's lived in South Africa a long while now because he was even singing that Kokota piano song like Kokota piano. But yeah, so that was what happened with Nukovic. And then he mentioned some interesting things. You know, we've all always had that theory to think that Nukovic played in the bubble. In our last games where we lost to Sundowns last day, he said he played with an injury. Basically, he was like, and then he defended Chiefs. He's like, it's not like they forced him to play. He wanted to play because he knew they needed him and like they didn't have a striker and stuff like that. So he knew they needed him, so he forced himself to play. So they would give him, he didn't say it's necessarily injections, but he called it something like PRP or something like that. I don't know what that is, but I guess it's some sort of medication or something that helped numb the pain. And then he was like, after that season, basically the bubble where we lost, straight after he went and got surgery, and then he only came back in Jan. And then he was like in the CAF season, in the CAF Champions League semi-final and final, he said actually he played those two games injured. Like he was proper injured, like there was nothing he could do. He was injured, but he played for the sake of the team. And for me, like I will say this, playing with the injury is not easy. And if we played our last few games with Nukovic at 70% basically with an injury, that means that he wasn't a bad person. Maybe he just had injury. So we wish that, for me personally, I wish he scores a lot of goals at TS Galaxy. And also, I have this thing that I'm starting to ask myself. I'm like, Nukovic failed, and he mentioned that he didn't. The only reason he left Kaizer Chiefs is because, like, basically, Arthur Zwane didn't have plans for him with the football that Arthur Zwane was playing. It didn't match the football that Middendorp was playing. So, if the coach has different ideas and you are no longer fitting what that coach wants, obviously they will let you go. So he was like, it's no hard feelings. He understands that Arthur Zwane's game, how Arthur Zwane plays, didn't match what Nukovic does. So in saying that, I have now have a question. I'm like, when we played with others one, he tried to play like combination football, a lot of movement and stuff like that, and the lot of game that needed someone to be confident on the ball. But we saw with Nukovic that Nukovic wasn't really the most confident on the ball, and Nukovic just wanted to live inside the penalty box. That's where he wanted to be. But when he played with Arthur Zwane and stuff, he always found himself having to play out wide. He was never in the box. He was always the one almost basically trying to supply, which kind of didn't help his case. So now the question we have to ask is, now that we're playing Umakitas Bega and this thing of kick and run, do we think Guti Nukovic could have done better with Molefi Ntseki? That is the question we have to ask. Could Unukovic have been a good player to play with Molefi Ntseki? We don't know what Gonzalez is going to do for Chiefs. Maybe Gonzalez is a better version of Nukovic and it will help us. You never know. Maybe that's the case. It's still early days. But yeah, that's what was happening on Marawa Sports. I won't get into Royal AM and all of the things he said, but one thing I will say to you guys, if you want to hear how much that guy really loved Kaizer Chiefs, listen to that interview. It is a very good interview. I liked it. I'll even listen to it times two. It was good. But yeah, guys, next thing, it was Media Day. Molefi Ntseki answered some questions and some of the and obviously also gave comments on the teams. So After the in the media day, Ntseki spoke on Mthethwa, Usibongiseni Mthethwa, and he basically said that yena, as Ntseki, he definitely wants Mthethwa as a player. That's what he was basically telling us. That he wants Mthethwa as a player, but at the end of the day, the truth is that you can want someone, but if the team is not willing to give that person up, or if that team is making you pay too much money for that player, then there's nothing much you can do. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'll put it to you guys straightforward. At the end of the day, money talks. Like Stellenbosch can say whatever they like to say, can say they want to keep Mthethwa, they can say all of those things. But at the end of the day, money talks. When I say money talks, if we go to Stellenbosch with 15 million, they'll give us Mthethwa. Why do I say that? Mthethwa is around 28, 29. Where will they get this 15 million? You see? So as the years go, Mthethwa is not 20. If Mthethwa has like 26, then it would be difficult. But Mthethwa is like 28. So at 28, we know he plays a position that is very difficult, a position that brings a lot of injuries, a position that is difficult. So between 28 till 32, you are still like having your peak, but after like 32 you dip. You a lot of the times dip as a defensive midfielder because a defensive midfielder position needs work. And if you want an example, let's look at Kante. Kante was the best defensive midfielder, even one of the most hardworking defensive midfielders in the world. But the older he gets, that position is demanding. It's difficult. It's difficult. The only defensive midfielder who I've seen play at a high level till an old age was Pirlo. And that was just because he was just a defensive midfield genius. Like, it's one of those things. You don't get all those players all the time. Yeye Litsulunyan also had his dip, but I think it wasn't at 32, maybe around 33, 34. He had his dip. But yeah, that position. So what I'm basically saying is that Mthethwa, this is the best time for Stellenbosch to make money off Mthethwa. They should just sell him. But the thing is that money talks. So will Kaizer Chiefs pay 15 million for a 28-year-old or 29-year-old? They won't. Kaizer Chiefs struggled to pay 12 million for Mendieta, so why would they now pay 15 million for Mthethwa? For me, what I think is that Chiefs is trying to pay Stellenbosch an amount of around 8 million because that's where Chiefs is willing to push around 8 million for Mthethwa, and Stellenbosch is like, no, not 8 million. We want more. So if Chiefs brings the money, the chances of getting Mthethwa is there. So what I always say is that if you go to Stellenbosch, don't just give them money. Don't just give them money. Give them a player. Give them a player that you won't use like a lot in the season. Like give Stellenbosch Mthethwa, Usabelo Khatebe and Uduba. Give Stellenbosch Usabelo Khatebe and Duba, and then let them go and beef up the Stellenbosch squad while you sign or Mthethwa like on a proper deal. And the same could be said with Kanyisa Mayo. If Chiefs were serious, they would have bought Kanyisa Mayo. But at this point, even me, even if I was a Kaizer Chiefs management, I would not pay anything above 15 million for Kanyisa Mayo. Me personally, I wouldn't pay 20 for Kanyisa Mayo. Kanyisa Mayo, I'd pay, even 15 is a lot. I'd pay maybe 12 to 15. That is me. It doesn't, he's young, but that 20 is too much. That is Sundown's money. You know that money. People who have too much money, they don't see price tags. They just spend. So yeah, that is it with Mthethwa. So Mthethwa is still, the transfer window is closing. I think it's next week, the 22nd. So there's still time. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think Chiefs still has a chance? Because it's based on what Ntseki is saying, it means that Kaizer Chiefs management is trying to get Mthethwa. but they're not winning. So the next thing I wanted to chat about is that we also found that there's a lot of players who are now not injured. So they are starting to come back into the squad. So apparently, Keegan Dolly played his first friendly match. His fitness is up there. And chances are, Keegan Dolly, well, he may make the bench. From what Mulife is saying, Mulife kind of said it in a way, Yoguti, he doesn't think Dolly will play this week, but he feels Dolly may play more next week. But what I'm saying is that I feel if Dolly is there, I feel he could make the bench because like he's basically an exact swap for Umodi and Umdansan. So you see, if you have Dolly, Mdu, like if our attacking players is Dolly, Mdu on the bench, because we know they don't want to play Mdu in the starting lineup. Dolly, Mdu on the bench, it looks better. It definitely looks better. But I'm just worried this Mosquitoes Begana kick and run football is the one that gives us injuries. So with Dolly, it's a thing of don't rush. Dove looks like he's fit again. So chances are Dove could most likely play. Um, it's just, yeah, there's a debate amongst us Chiefs fans about who should play where. Me, I have my take, but a lot of people have not seen my take. I'll tell you my take and I'll tell you what other Chiefs players take, fans' takes are. This is my take. My take is that I would play Udove as a defensive midfielder because what he did last year with Chiefs from the center, he controlled the center, even from defense. So I want him to do that in the defensive midfielder role. He must cut down people. He must just be a workhorse in the middle. But the nice thing I liked about Udove uh, as a defender, center back last year, is that he found the pass in the middle to the midfielders up front. So that's what I like. So me, I'd make Dove a defensive midfielder together with Castillo, and then I would put Frosler as left back and Solomons as right back. That is what I would do. Why do I say that? I like Hlanti, but Hlanti is slow. So if there's pacey players, they're starting to exploit Hlanti's side. So sooner or later they'll catch us. So and I like Solomons as a right back, even though Frosler has done so well. That's why I would rather have Frosler in the game as a left back. That is what I'd prefer to do. But what a lot of other Chiefs fans actually want to do is that they want to try play Castillo and Frosler in the defensive midfielder position. So a lot of people want to actually see Frosler playing a DM because he played that position a few times. I think if it was not, I think under Baxter. Not sure. So a lot of people liked how he played, so they want that to happen, and then maybe Shanti and Solomons as right back and left back. I don't know about that one, but me, I want to see Dove. I feel like we have not given Dove that chance, and I would like to see what it could look like. So, yeah, that is the K. That is what we have there. And yeah, guys, tell me what formation you think will be best there in those positions because yeah, still early days. It's still early days. We've only played 5 games. Yeah, but it must happen. Another interesting thing I saw, two youngsters joined Chiefs today and were training with Chiefs, and that is Donnie Jensen and Unkosi, the goalkeeper. Unkosi, I like him. He looks very promising. Unkosi reminds me, I'm trying to find a player he reminds me of. I almost said Taylor Ngobeni, but no, not Taylor. But there's something about that Nkosi boy. He's looking good. And then Donnie Jensen is the question I asked when New DDC was playing. That Donnie Jensen actually plays similar to Ashley Dupree. So I didn't get why they're not giving Udoni a chance to be in the game because he plays very similar to Ashley Dupree. But now that he's actually training with the first team, let's hope they find a place for him because that boy is fast and is very technical. So if you still want to run at a team, you could easily put Donnie Jensen as the number 9 and then put Ashley Dupree as a number as a right or left wing and stuff like that. But yeah, I think at this point they're gonna try play Gonzalez. It will be interesting to see if they start Gonzalez against Royal AM or if they start Ashley Dupree. Because if it's not broken, why fix it? So it will be interesting. Will they start Gonzalez as a striker and then have Dupree on the left and then have like Potsani or maybe Modi on the left and then have Dupree on the right? It will be interesting. Another one is, if they do that, if they start to Gonzalez, I know I've been talking for long. Forgive me, guys. Forgive me. I'm excited. So another one is, imagine if we're forcing to start with Gonzalez and we start Gonzalez as the striker. Then we say Modi left. Then we say who Dupree right wing, and then as the number 10 we put Upotsani. I wonder if that would work. I wonder. Maybe even making Ashley Dupree the number 10. Making Ashley Dupree the number 10, but Ashley Dupree with that pace is the one that kills us. Is the one that makes us kill teams. So it will be interesting. I will see what Ntseki does. But anyway, that is it for me, guys. To those who have not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Amakhosi.